Fresh Baked, even though we weren't able to get any construction updates from the park this weekend, we didn't go to the parks this weekend, I do have some updates for you that we're going to be doing once again from the desk. We'll get right into it, and we're going to start with this submission from the street team, from the Fresh Baked street team. This is from Twitter user Big Smooth, and this is footage of them testing the Quinjet on top of the Avengers headquarters building or what have you in Avengers Campus, testing the lighting features and also the sound. You can't hear the sound because the phone couldn't pick it up, but you could hear it on the ground. You could hear them testing the engines. This first shot is during the day, and you can see the lights and the exhaust kind of light up. And then this second shot is at night, and it looks obviously even cooler. I would imagine this is going to be very similar to the X-Wing that's in, Poe's X-Wing in Galaxy's Edge. You can hear the sound effects and the engine starting and stopping, and you can sometimes hear it flying overhead, even though you can't see it. I would imagine this experience to be something very close to that. For whatever reason, I wasn't expecting them to turn it on. I just thought it was going to sit there on top of the building. But there you have it. It will be animated. It will light up at night, or light up during the day as well. You'll see the exhaust kind of turn on a little bit, and you'll hear the sounds of the engines going. Very cool feature coming to Avengers Campus. Next, last week we talked about those curious signs in the windows of Le Baton Rouge. There were 3 signs. All three of those signs had a sort of restaurant theme to it, a dining theme to it. So the assumption was, are they possibly putting in maybe a Tiana-themed dining location there? Nothing like a restaurant, but something small like the Harbor Galley or something like that. The first sign said something new was cooking, which obviously cooking. The second sign said that gumbo was a spice of life, okay? And the third one was a bit of a non sequitur, to have a good time, to set a table, set a stage, that kind of thing. So naturally, like I said, a lot of us were thinking, well, maybe they're gonna sell beignets. I never liked that idea, to be honest. I like getting my beignets from the Mint Julep bar, and it turns out we have nothing to worry about in that regard. Well, I don't know if worry is the right word. It is not going to be a dining location. If you recall, Le Baton Rouge was once a place where you could get some of your odder stuff, some of the more dark side, I don't know what to call it dark side, but it was more unique merchandise that they had in there, and then it evolved into a dress shop where they were selling a lot of Her Universe dresses, themed Disney dresses, Her Universe, which was, they're really cute, they're really good, but apparently that wasn't moving, that merchant wasn't moving, and so they're gonna take that gift shop in a new direction. We don't even know what it is yet. They probably don't even know what it is yet, so it's just shuttered for now. Nothing's in there. They're using it for storage, I think. Bottom line is, don't expect a restaurant. Don't expect anything like that. Expect another gift shop, just reimagined. Sorry, folks, for anybody who was looking for a Princess Tiana or Princess and the Frog connection. Probably not going to happen. But again, like I said, I'm okay with that. I think I prefer to get my beignets from the Mint Julep bar. Next, we're going to go back to the Matterhorn. We talked about that last week and how they're doing some internal repair that's kind of decaying a little bit inside. They're going to be working on that off and on for probably ever, who knows. Street team member Jaron Lee on Twitter at DiscKid92 took these photos. Now, I'm not sure if this is what they're repairing, if that hole is something that needs to be repaired, doubtful, or if they opened up that hole in order to repair something inside of that, or it's none of those things. It's just some other random thing that they're working on. Most likely one of the latter two. I feel like that hole is not what's it's not what's keeping the Matterhorn closed. But like I said, it's worth noting they are working. It is kind of an example of the decay that is happening at the Matterhorn, and it's similar to what we saw last year before the attraction went down. Meanwhile, we've got another submission from a street team member. This one is from Jeff Kurtz at KurtzJeffrey on Twitter. He did us a favor. He compared the Frontierland entrance, the before and after, the images that I put on last week's video. He compared those two, and he observed quite noticeably that this new bridge does appear to be bigger, not by a lot, but bigger than the old bridge. I'm not sure. It looks seamless to me. I didn't even notice, other than now when you compare the two, the new one does look maybe 2 or 3 shoulders wide or more wide than before. But it's funny. I don't know why they chose to do that, because I never really had a problem with, traffic at the Frontierland entrance. It's not a heavily trafficked entrance. That's been the Adventureland entrance is very narrow. That's always a place to block, because you got the Dole Whip bar there. and just a very narrow passageway. The Frontierland entrance was always pretty wide anyway, but there you have it. It does look like they've widened it a little bit, and the surface has been changed a little bit. It's not the same surface as before. Others have noted, which we haven't been able to observe yet because we haven't been in over the camera, others have observed that the doors are different now, where they once were log, the gates, that is, where once they were, they looked like they were logs, now it's just wood. I haven't observed that yet myself. I'll let you know. I'll take some pictures of that on our next trip, which is going to be this weekend. And then finally, we've got an update on Disneyland Forward. They held a sort of town hall, Zoom meeting town hall that people were invited to. I caught the last half of it. And the part that I did catch was the important part, because that's when they started talking about the Eastern Gateway. The Eastern Gateway, if you recall, was another parking structure that they were going to build over there in the Pumbaa parking lot that would connect the harbor side to the Disneyland entrance. And then so they were going to run all the guests along the backside of all those businesses on harbor, and then they're going to take a bridge over harbor and into the harbor entrance where the bus drop off and all that is right now. That was the plan. That plan got killed because the local businesses on harbor, they weren't happy about that. They shook their fists and said, hey, look, you put that bridge up, we're going to lose foot traffic. And that's the thing. They mentioned in this Disneyland Forward Zoom call that the actual parking structure was already approved, the parking structure itself, and it's still approved. They could build that parking structure right now if they wanted to. But that's not the problem. The problem isn't the parking structure. The problem is that bridge. And that is the thing that they're having to sort of renegotiate with the local businesses. And that was mentioned in the Disneyland Forward town hall meeting that they did, that negotiations are going to start up again with those local businesses probably by the end of this month into early June. And they're going to try to find out a workaround. And one of the workaround has to be, if you're going to build that bridge that connects the Pumbaa parking structure to the harbor side of the Disneyland entrance, then you need to create access points for guests to disengage from the bridge, to come down and walk onto Main Street, or for guests that are coming in from local hotels on harbor. How are you going to get those guests into Disneyland? You need access points. Actually, if you want, check out our video that we did on this. It was 1,000 years ago, but it's still valid because nothing happened since then. So it's the same arguments are being made today that were being made then. Check out our video on the parking structure. It's very useful information, and it kind of might get you caught up if you're interested in the Eastern Gateway project. Now, one thing that they'd also mentioned is that this project is becoming more relevant, more important, not just to Disney with respect to Disneyland Forward, but with respect to the city of Anaheim in general. Parking and public transportation and all of that is going to be even more important in the near future, because they've already got plans to update the downtown area by the Anaheim Stadium, by Angel Stadium, and by the pond where the Anaheim Ducks play. That's going to be going through a major renovation very soon. They're going to turn it into I don't know what to call it, but they're going to modernize that whole area, and it's going to become a hub of business and commercial use and public, or I should say residential. It's really quite interesting. And they're going to be making a priority of getting all of these things, plus Disneyland, connected to one another. So public transportation, all modes of transportation, really. Public transportation, personal vehicles, foot traffic. They have to reimagine all of this stuff around the Disneyland Resort. So this is going to become a very important issue in the near future, not just for Disney, not just for Disneyland Forward, but the entire city of Anaheim. So I feel like that's going to give more leverage and more impetus to get something done, because those local businesses on harbor also want to be able to participate in that increased traffic that's going to be happening with the revitalization of Anaheim throughout. Now, I said finally before, but I actually do have one more thing, and that's in relation to, we did a video earlier this week about updating on the process of getting to the park, what time to get to the park, how the guest flow is in terms of waiting on Harbor Boulevard versus waiting at the Mickey and Friends parking structure, that kind of thing. But I did want to say, in terms of an operational issue, it does seem like Disney is opening the gates early pretty much every day, regardless of how busy it is, how many people are waiting out in front. It sounds like it's 8, 8:15 pretty much every morning. So don't plan, if you're trying to be in the first, amongst the first people in the gates, don't plan for a 9 a.m. visit or a 9 a.m. start. Plan for an 8:15 a.m. or 8 a.m. start. Get to the parking structure by 7:45, 7:30, 7:45. Get to, I don't know, the Garden Walk, if that's where you want to park, by 7:30, 7:45. Wait a little bit in the queues, and you'll be in the gates by 8:15. All right, that's it, Fresh Baked. Street Team guys, thank you very much for your submissions. We got a bunch of stuff for Jungle Cruise, which I couldn't really share because it was the same stuff we showed before, but I am, keep sending that stuff, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who submitted today. Thank you to those of you who are going to continue to do that. It really means a lot that we can be able to update, not just for me, but for everybody else, so they understand or they know what's going on in the parks. I appreciate you guys a bunch. If you want to send me something, you can DM me at First Baked Disney, that's Fresh with no E, on Twitter. You can just add us on Twitter if you like as well, with your photos or your comments. You can send me an email directly at David at freshbakedisney.com, and we're happy to take your photos or your stories, whatever you want to tell us, whatever you want to update. Stay tuned though, because it does look like they're starting to increase capacity to 35%, and who knows what else beyond that. They just dumped a whole bunch of new reservations today. This is Tuesday. They dumped a bunch of new reservations for May. You can get a reservation for tomorrow. Check us out. I did a little update on that on TikTok. We're on TikTok, by the way, at Fresh Baked Disney. Follow us on Instagram _FreshBaked, and on Twitter at Fresh Baked Disney. That's Fresh with no E. Stay tuned, guys. This is an ongoing situation, and we need to be constantly aware of what's happening at Disneyland, and we're the folks to bring that news to you. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked. Sorry, guys. I got one more note for you that I forgot to shoot yesterday as part of this construction video. We've been hearing reports about the Disneyland Railroad. We already know it's ending business around 2:30, 3 o'clock. But I've been hearing now a couple of reports that they're loading or boarding guests only in Toontown. Now, initially, that's what I was heard. You could board or load only in Toontown, and then you could get dropped off at any of the 4 exits. I'm hearing that was a week ago. I'm hearing it again today. Same thing, boarding only in Toontown, and then now I'm hearing it's possible that it's full circle or nothing. You board and deboard in Toontown. That part I haven't been able to get any sort of secondary confirmation on, but it makes sense. What's happening is that there are too many occasions at a given stop in the park, be that New Orleans Square, Main Street, or Tomorrowland, or Toontown for that matter, where nobody's getting off the train. And it's already been hard enough to get enough guests on this train because of social distancing. It's already hard enough for people to enjoy it because there's so few seats available. And so if people aren't getting off the train, then we had this happen to us a couple weeks ago where, we saw a train come in and we moved up just like 1 or 2 bodies, 1 or 2 spots in the queue. And then we had to wait another 5 or 10 minutes for the next train to come. So it sounds like they're trying to narrow that so that people get off the train so that new people can get on the train. We're going to test this out again. Hey, I need a reason to ride the train. We're going to test that again this weekend, find out for sure. But for those of you going to the parks, it looks like Toontown is the only place you can board and possibly the only place you can deboard. Grand Circle Tour or nothing. Interesting that they chose Toontown for that matter. Okay, thanks guys.